Hi everyone! So if you've been following the reading updates this week, you'll also know that I've been reading A Heart to Call Home by Jeannie Levick. This is a video review for A Heart to Call Home, and I have just posted the Goodreads review a little further down the page, so if you want to go and check that out, you can do. So the story's it's a romance, and it centres around the two main characters, which is Jessie Weldon, also known as Jessie Brogan, because that's her past self, and Dakota Scott, who was in her past but had no idea Jessie existed at all, because she's a few years younger than her, and she had no idea that she even existed. So it's really interesting to see how the two of them interact to begin with, because Jessie knows who Dakota is, but obviously Dakota hasn't got a clue who Jessie is, and all Dakota knows is that she feels some sort of attraction to this woman and she'd like to explore that. So in a twist of fate, Jessie actually finds herself outside Dakota's house with no idea that she's actually who lives there, and it's Dakota who invites her in, and they start talking, and that's where she discovers who Jessie is and what connection it has to their past. So their past is one big web of conflict. There's just so much because of the tragic events that happened to Jessie and Dakota's involvement in them. There's a lot for the two of them to overcome if they're going to be in this relationship and explore this attraction that they have to one another. Jessie is a very intricate character, and she's got a lot of demons, but then so has Dakota. But Dakota's more of heart on sleeve kind of character. You know that she's aware of what happened in the past, and you know that she's got some sort of feelings for it. But she's not quite sure how to deal with those, so she's just boxed them all up and forgotten about them, and she's tried to move on with her life the best she can, because to her knowledge, when the accident happened with Jessie's older sister, she had no idea that Jessie existed, so she had no idea what had been left behind. Jessie's obviously lost her big sister, she lost her dad, and she's also lost her mum, because her mum just didn't want to go on without her older sister. So as far as Dakota's concerned, the Brogan family don't exist. There's nothing for her to worry about. The time's gone past, and although you can tell that she's, as a person, she's never going to forgive herself for what happened that night, she was never aware of Jessie, so how would she ever know that she still had something to deal with? Unfortunately for Jessie, her demons are very deep, because they're rooted in the belief that she always blamed Dakota for what happened to her sister, because that's what her mother did. She always believed what her mother said about them, and she doesn't believe that Dakota's aware of any consequences. Unfortunately, she soon starts learning, as their relationship starts to develop, that Dakota's life is not as simple as it looked to her as a child, and that there's a deeper underlying reason for the events that occurred on the night of Jackie's death. So it's nice to see that all unfolding between them, and it's nice to see them both battling inner sort of worries and demons about perhaps being together, and what that means for them, and what it dredges up from the past, and how difficult it might be. But they work together, and they slowly start overcoming this, until Dakota drops a bombshell about something, which totally blows things apart for Jessie, and she just doesn't know that this is the right thing for her at all, and she actually contemplates leaving. So just as you got past all the initial conflict at the beginning of the book, and they've started to warm and develop, and you've started to think, oh, that's really sweet, they're going to work things out, and you think you're going to get your happy ending, bang, crash, in throws Jeannie a whole new web of conflict for Dakota and for Jessie to deal with, and you are on the edge of your seat thinking, I know this book finishes soon, it can't end like this. Which is great, because it's explored so well, and the way it then develops with Jessie, and what she then discovers herself about her sister in those last final chapters, is actually really sad, very sad. And this book's packed with emotion. I mean, it will really tug. Be warned, it will really tug. You can see, look, I'm going to start crying in a minute. It's really yeah, really heartfelt towards the end, and to learn about Jackie and how she was feeling, and therefore why what happened to Dakota happened that night, and how she had no control over it anyway. She wouldn't have been able to stop it in the end. She's always battled that, which, if she'd swerved the car, if she'd been driving a little bit slower, if things hadn't been kicking off with her mum, which is all this past that you're uncovering about her. She's always blamed herself in some ways. She's carried that guilt with her for years. tried not to worry about it too much, because she sort of knew that there was nothing she could have done about it. It was too fast, it all happened too quickly for her. And her twin brother Drew had tried to explain that to her too, because he saw things from a slightly different perspective, obviously being passenger in the car. But oh, heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking. Heartbreaking for Jackie as a character, even though she's only in it momentarily in this flashback sort of past. Heartbreaking for Jessie, because she has to learn that after all these years. She's always thought that her big sister was so brave and happy, and to find out that she probably wasn't was really sad, really, really sad. And it is very unfortunate with these things, because I think sometimes you find out too late how people were feeling, especially when Jessie was such a young child, and there was nothing she would have been able to do anyway. But in the end, because all these revelations come out about Jackie, she does go to Dakota, and they decide they're going to try this. They're going to try this, and I think that's very brave of both of them, given how difficult it must be. But what have they got to lose? Past is past, isn't it? Once it's happened, it's happened. You can't change it, and you can't go back. So why be unhappy over something that was beyond both their control? I think that's a lovely sort of moral in this story, and it's really sweet that they think they can work past that. So I really hope they do. If Jeannie ever feels like letting us know how that went, I would love a sequel. I always love a sequel, but I would love one. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this book. It was really, really lovely romance, and I would highly recommend it to anyone. If you've read it, let me know what you thought. If you're going to read it, again, let me know. I'll pop a link in the description as well, so you can grab a copy if it's on your to read list, or are you intrigued and now want to check it out. I hope you will check it out, and I hope you'll let me know what you thought, and I hope you'll enjoy it as much as I did. Bye!